So we're going to run through some fractions, adding, subtracting, starting basic and just building it up in difficulty. Okay, so copy all of these examples with me. Now, example 1a is very straightforward. I just put this in here just to make absolutely clear about what we're doing when we're adding, subtracting fractions. So 1/8 plus 5/8. 5/8, sorry. 1/8 plus 5/8. So copy it down. Now, our goal, the first thing we look at when we have two fractions with our adding, subtracting, is we look straight at the denominators. Are these denominators the same number? If they are, then we don't really need to do any changing of any fractions. We just combine them into one fraction. Okay, so we should hopefully know that we can combine both of these into something over 8. So it's just 1/8 plus 5/8. How many eighths do I have in total? Well, that is 6/8. And I am not finished when I get to this stage because I always need to leave a fraction in its most simplified form. So just please always remember, look at your fraction, think, can I divide it by 2, top and bottom? Can I divide it by 3, for example? So make sure that you do that to finish off. So 6 and 8 are both in the 2 times table, so we must divide them by 2 to finish this properly. So 6 over 8 becomes 3 over 4, 3/4. Okay, that's the first one, which I'm sure none of us would have any difficulty with. Now, second one, 3 over 5 plus 4 over 15. Copy that down, please. At this point, we're completely ignoring the numbers at the top. All we're focused on is what are these denominators? Are they the same? Well, this time, no, they're not the same. So I need to get them to be the same. Now, before you go to try and multiply both of the denominators, remember that your final goal is just to get them both the same number. So if I can just multiply one of them by something to get it the same as the other one, then that's a better option to choose because it's less work. So because 5 does go into 15, it's 15 is in the 5 times table, I don't need to multiply both of these to get them the same. I can just multiply the first fraction by 3. But remember, when we're forming this new equivalent fraction, I have to do the same to the top as I do to the bottom. So I'm going to get 15 as my new denominators for both fractions. The second one hasn't changed at all. But the first one, I've done 5 times 3, so I need to do 3 times 3 in the top to give me 9 over 15. Okay, now we're at the same point as in the previous question. I've got the same number at the bottom, so I just combine them. That number never changes. It's 15 plus 15, so it stays as 15 at this point on the bottom. 9 plus 4 is 13 over 15. Okay, we've done the addition. Now we need to check if we can simplify. Not 13 isn't in the 3 times table. It's not in the 5 times table. I can't do anything else with it. It's finished. Okay, I hope we'd be okay with those two so far. We're building it up in difficulty now, looking at a subtraction and then looking at some mixed number work here. Okay, so question C, copy it down with me, is 9/3 minus 3/4, and this time we are going to have to change both denominators. So copy this one down with me. 9/3 minus 3/4. Okay, so again, all we're doing is focusing on the denominators, and if there was something we can multiply 3 by to get to 4, then we would do it, but 4 is not in the 3 times table, so we don't have the same option as in the previous one. What we have to do is think of, we're going to have to change both of them, like we did on Friday. So we think, what is the next nearest number that both 3 and 4 will go into? Tell me, write it in the comments. What am I going to change these bottom two fractions? What is going to be on the bottom? Write it in the comments. What is the lowest number 3 and 4 will go into? Okay, Sam, yeah, 12. 12, yeah, that's correct. So what you're going to do is you're going to write 12 on the bottom of both of your fractions, and we're going to see what did we have to multiply each one. This time it's going to be different to get to 12. Now, the first one, we started with a 3 in the bottom, and we know that 3 times 4 is 12. So I have to multiply top and bottom by 4, which is going to give me 9 times 4 is 36 over 12. Okay? What have I done to my 4 on the right hand side to get to 12? Well, it's kind of just the opposite of the first one. I've multiplied it by 3. So I have to do the same to the top, times 3 by 3. So I'm left with 36 over 12 minus 9 over 12. I now have the same denominator in the bottom. I'm subtracting, so it's over 12 and it's 36 minus 9, which is going to be 27 over 12. Again, addition and subtraction is done. Can we simplify? Well, 27 isn't in the 2 times table, but it is in the 3 times table, like 12 is. So I can divide top bottom by 3 this time to simplify it. I must do that. 27 divided by 3, that's going to be 9. 12 divided by 3, that's going to be 4. And if the answer is in a mixed number, you're going to need to change it to a mixed number. So like what we have in question D. So you would just say, how many times does 4 go into 9? How many whole times? Just do your 4 times table. That's 2 whole times to give you 8. And then there would be 1 quarter left over. So 9 over 4 is 2 1/4. Okay, to be honest, you're probably fine most instances to leave it as 9 over 4, but if the answers are sometimes given as mixed numbers, you'll need to be able to change those. Okay, hope we're okay so far and I'm not going too fast. I'm aware that we only have one period and I've got quite a few examples to go through, so I do need to go relatively quick. Just say if you want me to slow down. Right, example D is 3 1/4 plus 2 4/7. So, starting with mixed numbers here, what we have to do in our first step this time is change them into top-heavy fractions. So, the opposite of what we've just done to finish off the last question. So 3 1/4, we're going to change back to a top-heavy improper fraction. Now, what I like to do here is write in the denominators to remind myself that those numbers never ever change when I'm doing the conversion. It's just the top number that changes. Okay, look at what we did in the answer to the last one. Bottom number, that denominator of the fraction never changed, 4 and 4. So we can do the same for these two. So all we have to do to get the top number is the little kind of trick. Remember, it's 4 times 3 is 12, plus the extra 1 that's there is 13 over 4. And on the right, it's 7 times 2 is 14, plus the extra 4 is 18 over 7. Okay, and you can just do a wee check in your head if you should be able to go back the same, the other way and get back to your mixed numbers. 4 divided by 13 is 3 1/4. 18 divided by 7, 2 4/7. Okay, now we're kind of at the same stage as the start of the last one. We are looking to get our denominators to be the same. Tell me this time, 4 and 7. I can't get 4, multiply 4 to get to 7, so I'm going to need to change both of them. So what is the next number that both 4 and 7 go into? I need to kind of do a wee bit of work with our 4 times table. Count up 4, 8, 12, 16, etc, etc. 7 times table. And yeah, it's going to be 28. That's right. So next line, write down your fractions with 28 as your denominator. And then we go back and think, what did we have to multiply in each case? Often, kind of like the last one, it's going to be the same here. If you just multiply each one by the other one, it will get you kind of to that same number. So it's going to actually be 4 times 7 and 7 times 4. So just top and bottom, times 7 on the left, times 4 on the right. Numbers are going to get a wee bit big here, but we can deal with it. So 13 times 7, well, that's going to be 10 times 7 is 70. 3 times 7 is 21. 70 plus 21, that's going to be 91. Okay, if you need to do a wee bit of working at the side, that's fine. You shouldn't have any that are too much higher than kind of these calculations. 18 times 4. So again, if we split it up into 10 times 4 and 8 times 4, that's the easiest way to do it in your head, I think. 10 times 4 is 40. 8 times 4 is 32. 40 plus 32, so that gives me 72. Okay. Most of the hard numeracy work done now. I can now combine them into be something over 28. I now just need to do 91 plus 72. So that's going to be 163. Okay, rarely get one this difficult that you're going to have to simplify. If you did have to simplify it, you would say how many times is 28 going to 163. Now, as I say, don't worry, don't be spooked here. This one has ended up quite difficult, but you probably won't have one that difficult. 28, 56 would be 2. 84, 110, 138. So that's going to be, what did I say, 56, 84, 110, 138. So it's going to be 5 and 25 over 38. 25 over 28. Now that's brutal. You wouldn't usually have one that difficult, so don't worry. But we just, if you're earning something to change to mixed, you're going to have to do that with that one. But don't worry about it. Right. Now, two kind of more different types that we haven't seen yet is when we just have a whole number taking away some sort of fraction. And then I'm giving you a worded question to finish off your last example. So E and F can we copy down this one on the left first, which is 7 take away 2 1/3. Okay. Now, remember, any whole number, you can just write it as a fraction by putting it over 1. Okay. So 7 is actually can be written as 7 over 1. And all we need to do with the right hand mixed number is to turn it into an improper top heavy fraction first. So 7 over 1 is just going to kind of stay as it is. Take away, now remember, it's going to stay as a 3, so write that in first at the bottom. Then you're just doing the wee trick to get your top number. It's 3 times 2 is 6, add 1 is 7. So I'll get 7 over 1, take away 7 over 3. Now this is similar to actually example B. I want these to get the same denominators. But because the one on the left is just a 1, I don't need to multiply both of them. I can just multiply the one on the left by 3 on the top and bottom, and that's going to get 3 as the denominator on the left fraction. So 7 over 1 is going to become 21 over 3, and that's taking away 7 over 3, and this one isn't too bad. So now they're both over 3, so it's 21 minus 7 is 14 thirds. Now again, to finish off, change it back to a mixed fraction. How many times does 3 go into 14? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 would be too many. So that's 4 whole times to get to 12, and then 2 thirds left over. Okay, I know there's been a lot of copying down here, but this is the last one. You don't have to write out the question because it'll probably take you too long. If you do want to write down the question, you can, but you don't have to here. So the question is, after a party, I was left with 3 3/4 cold pizzas. Next morning, my friends and I ate 1 1/3 of them. Cold pizza next day is absolutely top drawer, if you ask me. The rest we threw out. How many were thrown out? Okay, so we had 3 3/4 cold pizzas. They ate 1 1/3 of them, and then the rest were thrown out. So I was started with 3 3/4. I then took off, subtracted 1 1/3, and then whatever is left over, that's the fraction that was thrown out, right? So this is the calculation we need to do. 3 3/4 take away 1 1/3. Okay, so now it should be straightforward enough. We need to change them to top heavy fractions. We need to get the denominators to be the same. We just go through the normal process from here. So first of all, change them to top heavy. So this is going to be something over 4, take away something over 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Add 3 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3, and 1 is 4. Now again, you start to kind of, when you do practice this, you start to kind of just get the hang of the lowest common multiple of certain pairs of numbers. 4 and 3, we should kind of start to be remembering that they're gonna change to 12, right? That's the lowest number that you can both go into. It's like 3 and 5, 15. 4 and 3, 12. 3 and 2, 6. You kind of just start to, the more you practice, you start to hopefully that becomes automatic. So we change them both to 12. So what did we do to 4 to get to 12? We times it by 3. So I have to do the same to the top there. What did we do to 3 to get to 12? We times it by 4. So 15 times 3 is on the top. That's 15, 30, 45. Minus 4 times 4, 16. So put them both over 12 now, and then just take away and then see if you can simplify. So 45 take away 16, so that's 45 take away 10 is 35, take away 6 is 29. Now 29, is that in 3 times 2? It kind of looks like it could be divisible by 3, but it's not. No, there's nothing more to do there. Just change it to a mixed number. So how many times does 12 go into 29? So 12, 24 twice. 24 up to 29 is 5 twelfths. Alright, that was quite a big bit of note taking there. I hope you're feeling alright and not too spooked by that. I just am, cautious that I want to keep pushing on those that I feel need to be pushed on to this kind of further level here, these kind of questions at the end. What I'm going to get you to do now is a separate worksheet from the booklet. Okay, and I'm just going to go into it in a second and explain it to you.